So welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Forrest tonight out here in St. Louis. I've got some rock star traders here with me. They're going to share their story. They're going to share their story about trading stock options. I'm going to do a little round robin question and answer. And the whole point of this is to, if you're watching this video, you may have been invited by one of these folks or myself to take a look at our stock options trading platform, aka maybe our boot camp if you're watching it after our boot camp started. Again, the whole goal here is to just show you what kind of results you can get, what kind of background you have, that it's easy, that it's fun, it's not difficult to be able to get into this arena, and it doesn't take a lot of time. So without any further ado, and just let me back up a little bit. A little bit of background on myself first. I got into the trading arena, if you want to call it, the trading community here about 3.5 years ago. Absolutely fell in love with it. Started out with another company on the education platform, and then moved to this one here back in October of this last year, and it's absolutely been a phenomenal ride. Our educators are next level educators. So even if you're not looking at enrolling into stock options, we have awesome Forex educators in multiple languages. We have crypto educators, multiple languages. We have binary educators in multiple languages, and you can actually learn how to trade futures as well. So we've got a pretty good mix depending on where you want to fit in. Now you do that, anything from very, very beginner to maybe even some a little bit more advanced. We have just all kinds of stuff. So get back to one of these people or myself, depending on who shared this with you, and have them walk you through the dashboard, have them walk you through the classrooms, have them make sure they get all your questions answered for you, and make a good educated decision. The cool thing about the whole entire platform is ridiculously crazy affordable. I just got off the phone with another gentleman looking at another company that does what we do, but they're literally 10 times more expensive. 10 times more expensive than what we have to offer, and they don't have as much stuff as we have. So without further ado, I'm going to start with Miss Bawalia, and then we're going to jump over to Jeremy, then we're going to jump over to Scott, and we're going to do round robin on these questions. And if they get the questions wrong, we're going to make them do push-ups. Just kidding. It's going to be fun. Enjoy this. So what I would like you to tell me, Miss Bawalia, and then we're going to go to Jeremy, then to Scott, is tell me about yourself. Tell me about your job. Are you married? Have kids? And just stick to that topic right now. I've got some other questions. We'll move into the trading stuff, but just tell me, are you married? Have kids? What do
Sure.
you do for a living? What kind of job you have?
Okay. Hey, so my name is Boalia Desmond. I've been married for almost 26 years. I have two boys, 21 and 18. They're college kids. And actually, they're learning stock options with me. But I live in Wisconsin. If you've ever been to Wisconsin, you know it's a great state. And so I'm just happy to be here. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me here, Coach. Excited to share.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I understand you have like a full-time job. You work like 100 hours a week or something crazy like that.
I do work for corporate America. I work for a company called, been there 25 years, and I'm a programmer. And so, yeah, that's what I do. So full-time work.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I wanted to bring that up because a lot of people say, well, I don't have time to trade. Well, Wally works a full-time job. She goes to classes. She's learned how to trade, and she's actually making a little bit of money too. So income disclaimer, no income guarantees. Don't say Forrest that you're going to make money. You got to show up. You got to practice, right, Wally, and
Yes.
do some of that stuff before you can actually make some earnings. So let's jump over to Jeremy. Jeremy, what do you do for a living? Where do you live? You can be as detailed as you want to. Married, have kids.
Yeah. Okay, so my name's Jeremy Dennis. I am married, been married since 2012. I have four children, aged from 20 to 28. Um, I own JD Lawn Service LLC. I mow 60 yards, power wash, do all kinds of stuff. And, I've been in stock options since January.
Nice, 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 nice. And again, this is Jeremy's busy season. Like he literally just finished a yard before he jumped on this call here. So it's nice that he has an opportunity to jump on and even talk to us on a weekend, which is like grass cutting weekend. I know I cut my grass yesterday and it was crazy. So appreciate you taking the time to share with us. And Jeremy's got a real cool story, but we're gonna get back to that here in just a minute. Let's jump over to Scott. Scott, tell us who you are and tell us a little bit about you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Scott Cunningham. I'm originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but I live in central Pennsylvania now. And I've been working at a factory for about the past 13 years. I'm a lift operator and machine operator. Married, Two grown kids, and I have an 8-year-old daughter. Two grown boys
Nice.
and an 8-year-old daughter.
So you gotta let us in on what does your factory make?
We make iced tea and ice cream.
So yeah, this is also his busy season because it's summertime, right? And
Absolutely.
everybody wants some ice cream. So it's really cool that he was able to jump on today because he was worried about they might have to make him work a little bit of overtime, but I'm glad he got that off. I'm gonna have to swing by and pick up some type of gallon of chocolate ice cream or something. Decided to do that. So thanks for sharing it. The reason I wanted to give you guys an insight on this is because somebody's story may relate. We have doctors, we have attorneys, we have pharmacists, we have moms, we have retired folks. As a matter of fact, somebody on our personal team is 86 years old learning how to trade, all the way down to the young folks like Walia has that are in their 20s that are learning how to trade. So there's no restriction on that other than you have to be 18 years old to actively legally trade, right? But it doesn't mean that if you have teenagers in your home that you can't sit them in front of the computer and teach them how to trade. It might be an option for them rather than going to college. It might be a career that they might decide to go down. So enough of the sales pitch there. So we're going to start with Scott, and we're going to come back to you, Bawalia. Scott, when did you first begin your journey in trading?
I started dipping my big toe in Forex probably about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. And I got sidetracked by some other things and decided I would get back into Forex. And actually, from following you on social media, I you know how the algorithms are in your feed is I try to stay around positive people, and you're a good solid person, so I like having you on my feed. And you were posting about some wins that were happening in Forex, so I just kept my eye open on it. And then you actually put up a video with Jessica Ramos and stock options, and I didn't even know stock options was a thing. So I got interested when I saw that, and then I went down a Jessica Ramos rabbit hole on YouTube and Instagram, and reached out to you, said, "Hey, I need to join."
Yep. And that's a funny thing that you said that, because I had a friend that I worked with when I was selling Mercedes. He was in stock options and he would show me some of the stuff he was doing, and it freaked me out a little bit. I'm like, dude. And it was like he was constantly just losing money. I was like, and then of course we get the superstar Jess comes along, who's probably I've been in this industry not forever, but 3.5 years. You run into a lot of educators, a lot of so-called gurus in different areas, and some of them are really good, like Jess, and some of them are horrible. Like they know how to trade, but they don't know how to teach, right? And you run into those kinds. So yeah, it's the platform. And then of course we got our new Forex trader on board. He's absolutely phenomenal. I'm trying to stay in stock options with this, but you're in the right place here. So thanks for sharing that. And Jeremy, when did you get introduced to when did you begin your journey in trading? Oops, we lost Jeremy. Hopefully he'll come back. We'll jump over to you, Bawalia. When did you begin your journey in trading?
Began my journey about 3 years ago, I think, in a different company. And you know what? I struggled in that company. I felt like I was an outsider. So it kind of, I struggled, didn't really get far with it. And then I was following Mr. Haynes, and so that he was coming, with a new company, and I jumped right on board with that company. And my goodness, my eyes were completely opened with what they have available. And you're right, Coach. There is no coach like Coach Jess. When I started the boot camp in January, I kind of got lost in the middle because things changed at work and it got hectic. So it wasn't until she did the second boot camp, the one that was like a fire hose, that it really caught my attention. That one I paid attention because it was like 2 weeks. But Jeremy's story, when I saw Jeremy's story, I said, this is it. I have to commit. I've got to make a decision that I'm going to commit, and I'm going to do it. So Jeremy, I thank you for being my inspiration to say, go, you got to make a decision.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and I muted you, Jeremy. You can unmute there, and just when did you first begin your journey into trading?
Yeah, so I started in January with Jess in stock options. And I know prior summer, me and you had talked about trading stock, but I never even did anything with it. I just, until December when you had said something. So yeah, January is when I started, and it's been a amazing ride, I should say.
And Jeremy, And so, you know, to be transparent, right? There's quite a few people that I've ran into that have different types of, you know, there's some people that will enroll into the academy, and I call it the academy, the trading academy, with us, and they get started and they just don't show up, right? And somehow they have this mindset of like they can learn how to trade in 2 weeks and make money. And I'm going to throw this out there just as my opinion, right? This is not pointed at anybody. Give yourself grace if you're going to learn trade. I don't care if it's with our company or with anyone else's company. Give yourself grace and time to learn this. If you think that you can learn trading in 2 weeks, it's almost disrespectful for people that have been learning it 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 years, right? If you're trying to compare yourself to somebody that's been trading for 7 or 8 years and think that you're going to make as much money and have as much success as they are, and you're going to do it in 2 weeks, it's almost disrespectful to that person. So think about it from that perspective. Give yourself grace, be a little bit humble and say, okay, I'm going to learn this. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to put my head down and work this. My story is my first 18 months, I was in practice mode. I didn't trade a live account for 18 months because I wanted to make sure that when I was doing it, I was doing it. Unlike Jeremy, he jumped in, rock star, head down, like fire hoses, and that's how he does everything, and went to work. And next thing you know, he's like sending me a text, hey, coach, I just made so much money. And I said, dude, you've been doing this 60 days, right? And he's like, yeah, and then another one, then another one, then another one. And he's still working full-time, cutting grass and doing that kind of stuff. So, and I think he drives trains too or something. I don't know. It's pretty crazy. So, you know, everybody has a different learning level. Give yourself grace. We've got a boot camp coming up here that Hawaii had talked about. We've got a boot camp coming up that's going to be absolutely phenomenal. We'll talk a little bit more about that. So let me move on. Let's see, Scott. When did you? I already did you, right? When did you start your journey? Okay. So question number 3. Got to keep myself on track here. Back to Bawalia. What was your biggest challenge in starting out in trading?
Fear of not getting it.
Can you elaborate?
It was such a different world for me. It was a different world, but I need to say this to someone. If you're out there listening, you need to plug in and stay with a community, because yes, it can be difficult to learn on your own, but if you have somebody that's, you know, alongside with you, I think it's just so critical and important for you to plug in and do the homework, do the work. You just have to. Time's gonna go regardless of if you decide today to jump in or not. You're either going to be in it or you're going to be looking at the people who are doing it. So I hope and pray that you just decide that, you know what, you're worth doing it, and just do it for you, because it's going to change your life.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know Bawalia has been busy with her boys, going to games and sports and college. And I think one time you were moving them into the dorm or something. I know you had a whole lot going on. And the cool thing about it is her boys are learning how to trade. And I think it was our last team call that we had. He was in the background like, I made $139. I'm like, whoop, whoop, whoop. Right? It doesn't seem like a lot. It doesn't seem like a lot. But when you can do that in 15 or 20 minutes, income disclaimer, doesn't happen that way for everybody. But when you put yourself in front of the right people, right? Success leaves clues, right? And when you're hanging out with the right crew and the right people, and you can fix the stinking thinking up here and you can get all that right. 90% of trading is mindset, 10% is strategy. It really is. It's mindset, right? When you get a little bit greedy and you try to bite off a little more and you chew and get your butt kicked, right? It's happened. Or then you have a really big win like Bawalia just did this last week in stock options, which is phenomenal, and just see the big smile on her face, like, yeah, win time, right? So absolutely, absolutely cool. What was yours, Scott? What was your biggest challenge starting out?
I'd say my biggest challenge was finding someone that teaches the way I need to learn. That was probably my biggest challenge. So in the past, I feel like I've come across some great traders, but just because you're a great athlete doesn't mean you're going to be a great coach. And I feel like that's what happened in the past. And I feel like with Jessica, we actually have a great trader and a great coach. And I still encounter challenges from time to time, but what I love is she's so detailed and she gives you a little bit of not just the technical, but the psychology in almost every single class that she does.
Yep. She does not pull any punches. Like if you're a green personality type and you like top to bottom, left to right, and you're not going to get your feelings hurt, Jess pulls it. And she does that because she says, I'm not here to play. I want you to be successful, right? That's the kind of coach that you need. That's the kind of educator you need. It's not somebody that just they're stroking and gatekeeping and trying to make fluff themselves up. It's like, here's the information. If you're going to be in class, don't be a goofball like Forrest sitting in the back of the room, messing around. Move to the front and pay attention, right? Pay attention, and you're going to win. So I really appreciate her education style because she pulls off the gloves and she's doing it because she sees her success of what she's doing, and she says, hey, if you do 10% of what she's doing, you're going to have a really, really good month. What about you, Jeremy? What was your biggest challenge starting out?
I guess my biggest challenge was slowing down and taking everything in, because I like to go as fast as I can and learn everything as fast as I can. And I always think that I can just run and get it and go. And I had to step myself back. Even though the first 60 days I had really good results, there was times that, and I talked to Coach Jess, and she had to pull me back. She said, hey, you're moving too fast, slow down. You're making silly mistakes. And so that was probably mine, is just slowing down and taking in what she's telling me. So, because she's a great coach. I mean, if you don't learn from her, you're not paying attention, I should say.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is. I literally just bought me a notebook for the boot camp that's coming up, brand new one. Like, I've got a brand new notebook that says Stock Options Boot Camp, August 2024, and it's at the top, and it's going to be, and it's doing that. I did the boot camp in January, right? I didn't do the accelerated boot camp because I moved into the Forex a little bit in the Forex, and you will learn, right? There's a lot of crossover, right? She's got some basic training that she does that covers any kind of trading, whether you're trading stock options. Matter of fact, some of her people that trade futures have used her stock options training to trade futures. And one guy just bought a truck with his futures earnings, which is cool. Another person we saw just start out with $50 and earn like $219. $50, earn $219. I think that's a 400% ROI if I'm doing the math upside down the right way, right? Something like that, or 200%, some kind of ROI. That's phenomenal. Again, income disclaimer. You got to work and you got to show up, right? So Forrest said we could get $50 a week. No, I did not say that. I did not say that. So just be aware of that. So yeah, the challenge that you're going to have when you enroll in trading, right, is like my first 6 weeks, I felt like it was just crazy. There was so much. It was a little bit overwhelming. It was just, and this and this indicator and that style, and it was like a lot. Like, you'll go, did I do this? Did I honestly sign up and pay tuition to have this happen to my brain? Yeah, but eventually the noise will stop and you'll be getting some focus. I had a really good educator named Aaron he literally taught the same stuff over and 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 over, right? Very, very good. Jess is the same way. She's like, here's what it is. Here's what it is. Here's what it is. Repetition is the mother of skill. Any success manual you'll ever read, any coach you ever talk to, any professional sports athlete is practice, 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 practice. Ask Michael Jordan how he got so good at shooting free throws, right? Practice, 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 practice. So let me get off the motivation, come back to the questions. Right. Question number 4. Who did I start with first last time?
Bala.
All right. I'm gonna jump over to Jeremy, and then we'll go to Boya, then we'll go to Scott. How many hours per week do you spend? And this is basically sort of an overall question. How many hours a week do you spend on charts, setups, and trading?
I do all my charting Sunday night, and I usually don't mess with it. Now in the mornings might use it for like a minute just to do the new highs, new lows, or or do my say yes to Jess line. But yeah, I spend literally no more than 10 hours a week.
Nice.
That's it.
Nice.
That's it.
Nice. So you can see it's everybody's going to be different, right? If you're going to trade, and that's a real good segment in this, is you have to have a calendar. You've got your daily routine. You've got your non-negotiables, right? If you know that you put your babies on the bus every morning at 7:30, you're not going to be trading at that time, or you'll have to find someone else to do it, right? So you're going to have, like Boya has a full-time job. So she knows when she's on her job, she ain't trading at that time unless she does it on a lunch break or something. But you calendared out, you put your time on your calendar. It can be 30 minutes a day. It can be an hour a day. Maybe you have a day off in the middle of the week, or do something like that. So I'm going to let Scott jump in and talk about his how many hours a week on charts trading. What is your schedule look like?
Very similar to Jeremy on Sundays. I mainly look at QQQ and Tesla. So on Sundays, I will mark up my charts for the week. And then every day, I'm on Eastern Standard Time. I'll get on the chart around 9:15 just to see what the pre-market levels look like. And then I stay in from about 9:30 until around 10:30 or 11.
Nice, nice. And you'll notice most of the people just say, well, I work during that time. Well, cool thing about Scott was lucky enough to get shifted to the afternoon or second shift so he can actually trade in the morning, which is, I mean, he was like, please shift me, please shift me. So he was able to work on the second shift so he can trade in the morning. That may not apply to everybody. So again, you got to find a space to fit in. The cool thing about it is you're going to find a space. If you really want to do it, you'll find time to trade. How about you, Bawaya? What is your trading day
My
look like, schedule?
Yeah, my trading, well, actually, I'm still kind of studying, because there's so many things that I'm still not good at. So because I work during the day, I go back and review, the things that I missed, the lives that I missed in the evening or late afternoon. So no, I do spend quite a bit of time reviewing things. So I would say no less than 10 hours for me, no less than.
And Yep, I don't know if you guys heard this, but she says we have live and recorded classes. We have an entire library, for lack of a better word, of every single class. Like, for example, the January boot camp that Jess did I've watched some of those videos like 8 or 9 times, because it's not just like, oh, if I miss the live class, I'm not going to learn this. Well, if you find the videos and the areas that you need to get strong in, and you watch them over and over and over and over, and then you practice and practice. And you're going to hear me say the P word a lot. If you come on board and you hang out with me anytime, you're going to hear me say practice, 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 practice. You got to practice, right? That's the goal of getting good at anything is practice. We talked about that at church today, about reading the Bible. You can't just read one verse and be like, oh yeah, I've got the whole thing down. No, you read it over and over. And then the cool thing about the way the Bible was written is they have a story that was written 4,000 years ago. And then Paul comes along and reiterates it in the New Testament, the same stuff. And he realizes that people need to hear stuff over and over and over and over to get it, whether you're learning from a religious standpoint or from a mathematical standpoint or whatever you're learning, it takes that. And then the cool thing about it, sometimes you have to hear it 2 different ways to make sense. I was making fun about this in Bible verses, like it'll say it this verse, and then God says, well, wait a minute, that's going to get certain people. I'm going to re-say it this way to get the people in the back of the room. Right. And that's the cool thing about our platform is you'll hear something from somebody and say, what did they say? And then someone else will chime in like, oh, that's what she meant. So it's about showing up and participating. That's why we have a variety of us here, because we all have different backgrounds. We all learn differently. We all hear things differently. So it's very important. I'm a full-time entrepreneur, so I can spend a lot of time doing this stuff. So I don't want you to compare yourself to me, because I do this full time. I get up in the morning about 6:30, get ready to go. I jump on, I take a look at the charts at about 7:30 in the morning. I jump on with Jess, and I do a lot of stuff. So I'm usually a morning guy like Scott, but I'm probably sitting somewhere in between 6:30 to 11 o'clock-ish between training and educating and learning. And then of course, if there's an evening class, I'll jump in and do that. I'll jump in and do that. So don't compare yourself to me, because I have like a completely different schedule than somebody like Bawaya who's got a full-time job, or like Scott who's got a full-time job, or like Jeremy who's got a full-time business, right? I'm operating in different, I sit here in front of my computer, but I'm here every day. So it's scheduling time. I put it on my calendar, and I'm not saying this to brag, but if you're going to be a successful trader, and you'll learn this in class, you've got to have a trading plan, you've got to have a schedule, you've got to have a calendar, and you've got to be ultra intentional with what you're doing. The cool thing about it is you can enroll into the academy and pay a tuition. You can practice with what we call a paper demo account. So you don't even have to have real money until you get really, really good. And then when you're ready to get real money, you can start out with just a little bit and start trading and grow that account and grow that account and grow that account and grow that account. So I'll say this. So we got through the time thing. We talked about the calendar. You get to hang out with some cool people like Wally and Jeremy and Scott, which is really awesome. And we got a whole bunch of other people that we hang out with as well, and we meet with on a regular basis several times a week. But here's the neat thing about it is if you make the decision to do this, it will be the best decision that you ever, and I'm saying a real decision, right? It's like you're deciding to maybe replace something else and say, okay, I'm going to do this for the next 90, 120 days. And you can't go backwards. Like once you learn it, you can't unlearn it, right? It's a really good financial education. So question number 5, and we'll start out with Jeremy. Jeremy, what is your biggest win? What would you consider? And I just want you to pause on this. What would you consider your biggest win?
My biggest win, I mean, just not even money wise. My biggest win was joining stock options, because it's not really, it is about the money and about, having that extra income. But I know it's the education that I got that's going to carry me on for the rest of my life. So it's not really about the money. It is, but it ain't. But the money's going to be there now till the time I stop trading. I know it is. And it's the education that I've learned. That's my biggest win. But if you want to go money wise, I had a $5,400 win.
Nice. That was actually the answer I was looking for. It wasn't the money. It was the lifestyle change, right? So
Yeah.
Scott, you can chime in. What do you feel your biggest win is?
Actually, it's the exact same thing. It's the education. You can't beat the education. And in my eyes, when I saw how you're taught, the structure, the curriculum, the fact that it's homework, the fact that there's quizzes, and what you're charged for that is mind blowing. And then it's something that can't be taken away from you and can walk with you the rest of your life, and you can teach it. That's the biggest win for me.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, when you're looking at this, and it's guys, just so you know, they had no idea what these questions were, right? I literally, they're speaking from their hearts, they're speaking from their experience. So I didn't feed them these questions prior to this. Is all like me just throwing at them. Yes. What was your biggest win?
I'm no longer afraid, just conquering the fear. I feel confident in knowing that the decision that I made to join stock options was one of the greatest decisions I've ever made. I've had the most phenomenal summer with my boys learning, knowing that they won't have the same struggles I did is just huge. It's just brought us so much closer. They see a bright future. They understand that, at any time, they can go in and trade and make money. That's huge for me. To me, that is the biggest win I've had as a parent, just knowing that I'm helping them secure their futures so they don't have to struggle like I did.
Absolutely. That's a great way to wrap it up. And you guys can chime in how you want to, who wants to go first on this bonus question. What tip would you give an absolute newbie who's getting ready to learn how to just say trade in general? What tip would you give a brand new newbie?
I would say sit down, put your head down, and learn everything you can and take it all in. And if you have to watch a video 20 times, watch it 20 times, because at the end of the day, the knowledge that you're going to get and the life-changing events that's going to happen ahead from you knowing all this is going to be worth every penny. So just get the education, and if you're really interested in doing it, make sure that you go all into it. I mean, that's about what I say. Just put everything into it.
Perfect. Who wants to go next?
Yeah, it's the exact same thing. Like choose what it is you want to learn. Dedicate a certain amount of time to it, schedule it, dedicate a certain amount of time to it, and realize that you've most likely been at your job for a year or more. So don't give up on this so quickly. Give as much time as you would give to your job and realize it can be truly life-changing.
Absolutely great answer. How about you, Boya?
The years are going to fly by regardless of what you choose to do in life. Understand that you are worthy of this. You're worthy of this. Give it a shot. Take the advantage of being young. Really take advantage of being young, because most of us are looking back and wish we could have started this a long time ago. Long time ago.
Yep. And with that, I'll call this a wrap. And I truly appreciate you guys taking time to jump on here and do this. And the reason I was inspired to do this is because I wanted to give one is my awesome team members here an opportunity to share their stories, but more important, so that you could get a really good rounded idea of just a few of me. These are just a few stories, you guys. The stories that we have that in the stock option side are absolutely phenomenal. Make sure you get back with one of these guys if they share this video with you, and get back to them, get enrolled, right? And you'll get added to our team. You'll be able to come and hang out. Boot camp is a freaking blast. Get yourself a notebook, a pen, a highlighter, and plan on putting your head down and going to work until you get this, because once you get it, whoo, man, I'm telling you, it's like you can smell like the Freedom chocolate chip cookies around the corner. Like, man, what's cooking over there? I'm gonna go get me some of that, right? So you'll get to hang out with a really, really cool group of people. They've got a really cool, if you want to call it, traders community in my private group that we have, which is absolutely so much fun, and get to hang out with these absolutely awesome, cool people. So, Scott, Jeremy, Bawaya, truly appreciate you guys coming on here, being vulnerable, sharing your stories, and get back to one of these guys. If they share this video with you, get back with them. Don't hesitate. Get enrolled. Put your head down and go to work. I love you. I appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you guys. I'm gonna hit stop recording. You guys have an absolutely awesome week. Thanks again, guys.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Thanks.